Before you enter the working world, these are the 5 things that you need to know in order to start out successful and maintain that success. No matter what industry you're in, these are the 5 basic things that I've picked up on that if you become an expert in or become really good at, you'll not only impress your employers and coworkers, but you will probably get places quicker than you thought you could. I'm Leah Leverich, host of the Decision Day podcast and brand manager at Big Brand Ventures. I graduated high school in 2022 and decided to enter the workforce right away. Let's introduce you to all of the options out there and elevate your mindset so you can enter the working world with confidence. You're listening to Decision Day.
The Decision Day podcast is brought to you by Big Brand Ventures, co-founded by myself, Kevin Harrington, and Brian Harrington. Hey, I'm Brendan C. Adams here, and if you're looking to scale your business and work with the original shark of Shark Tank and other dream team entrepreneurs, check us out on social media at Big Brand Ventures or visit us, bigbrandventures.com, for more information.
All right, let's get right into it. I've got a slide that I'm going to be referencing for you video watchers. This is what it looks like. Can you see it? Cute little slide I put together. There's so much here. So we're going to start. I'll list the 5 first and then we'll dive into them. Number 1, build your network. Number 2, finding your ideal career. Number 3, your surroundings. Number 4, being open to. And then number 5 is curiosity. So start out. Number 1, building your network. If you're a college student, I'm assuming that you would have already started to build your network because I believe they do a little bit more hand-holding when you're actually at an institution of like, get a LinkedIn, start emailing people, just building up those connections that you have personally, whether it's people that your parents work with or your grandparents or your aunts and uncles, anyone that's like a peer to you or like a second connection. So you know the first person, they know somebody else, and then you meet them, that's a second connection. So gathering those people and keeping them in your Rolodex somehow. Rolodex is a very dated term. So what I like to prescribe to a lot of young adults entering the working world is LinkedIn, of course. I just did a recent episode sitting right here talking about why you should learn to love LinkedIn. And so I went into how to build up a LinkedIn profile and why it's so important to be on LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is the best way to keep your connections and your network all in one place while also reminding them that you exist and that you're doing great things and then documenting all of the great things that you're doing. You stay top of mind with all of these connections that you gather. It could be as easy as somebody that you worked with for your part-time job. Let's say you worked at a restaurant. Who were your coworkers? Who was your manager? Who's the owner? Connect with them on LinkedIn and then keep them as a connection because you never know when knowing that person could branch off into another opportunity. So establish a LinkedIn presence. I talked about this in the LinkedIn episode. Basically, document all of the great things that you're doing and all of the work that you're putting in a lot of energy towards that is directly related to the industry you want to enter or the career that you're looking at pursuing. So for example, I was recently on local news about Decision Day. That went immediately to my LinkedIn because it's credible being on local news. It's something that I'm proud of. It has to do with Decision Day, and I wanted my network to see it. It establishes me as like whoa, she was on the news. I want to know more. But then also it just reminds people who are scrolling that, hey, I exist. This is what I'm doing. And if there's ever any way that we could connect or any opportunity for collaboration, reach out to me. It kind of says all of that just by being a post. So whether or not you can think of anything right now to post on your LinkedIn, start to have that in the back of your mind of like, what could I put on my LinkedIn? What's something that I'm proud of? Maybe it's an award, an achievement. I've seen some people doing like posting their research papers or their essays or any sort of written content that they've done in school. If you're in the trades, you wouldn't think so because it's kind of those people stereotypically aren't on a lot of social media, but because of that, it gives you an opportunity to be even more present online. The less tradespeople that are on LinkedIn, it's easier for you to stand out. Just get on there and start networking and documenting, and you could probably find a lot of work on LinkedIn too. There's a lot of business professionals that might be looking for a plumber or a welder, and you could get hired on LinkedIn. So having that LinkedIn presence is so important, and there's endless opportunities that'll come from building up your network. I think almost every event that I've ever gotten invited to, it's been some sort of way that some event host saw me on LinkedIn, or they saw my LinkedIn newsletter, or someone invited me to get on a Zoom call and talk further with them. And that led to, hey, I'm having this event. Why don't you come? Or I know somebody who you should talk to. There's so many ways it can branch off, and it'll leave you with this endless list of job opportunities. I literally have a Google Doc of people who have asked me to do their social media, do their video editing, work with them, do their marketing, help them host events. And I haven't been able to say yes because I have my full-time job, but I'm at max capacity. And if I ever needed a fallback, I have those people in my connections, in my network that I could be like, hey, I can help you. Or if I ever meet someone that I can refer them to. There's so many opportunities within your network. If you ask any successful business person, they know, like you see the business men and women on the planes, on Zoom calls, talking on the phone with their AirPods. They're always talking to somebody. These are all connections in their network. So start building yours up as soon as you can. Again, an easy way to get started is to attend events. Find local events in your area. I feel like I say this to so many people because it's the easiest way to start meeting people. You can go on websites like Eventbrite. You can check out Facebook. You have to think of like who's hosting these events. They're probably millennials or above, maybe some younger Gen Z, but where would they be promoting it? Where are they posting? A lot of the older adults in the working world are on Facebook. So check out, you could literally look up, oh, there's a great one. I met this girl, Heather Schultz. She's a guest on the student loans episode of Decision Day. I saw her post on LinkedIn and Instagram, I believe, that they were doing a Money and Mimosas event. So it was really just an in-person event where you have a little drink and you have some breakfast and you talk with a bunch of women and financial professionals about money. And I met a bunch of people. I think I got at least 5 or 6 connections from that one event. And it was a small event. It was just very chill. But I remember those people. And if they ever need anything, I'm here to help them, and then vice versa. So looking for little events like that to help you get started, and then it'll evolve from there. You'll meet one person, they'll refer you to something else, and you can keep attending events. Eventually, you can start to graduate to more high-level events, especially ones that if you wanted to pay for them, you can invest your money into yourself, bettering yourself and your mindset. I know at my company, Big Brand Ventures, we're hosting BBV Live this November. In the past, we've done Rise and Record, 2 sponsors of the Decision Day podcast. And those are very high-level events with ticket holders that will buy a ticket, come to the event, network with each other. They're all business owners. They all are in different industries. You hear from keynote speakers, you learn, you mastermind, you network with everyone. And then at Rise and Record specifically, there are cool performances. So if we do events in Nashville, there might be a country singer, just something fun and experiential. The in-person connections are just so powerful. You never know what conversation could lead you to your new favorite opportunity. Number 2 is finding your ideal career. So if you are in college, or if you are a little bit of an older young adult and you already have a career path, that's great. If you already have a major, that's great. And then if you're in high school and you're not sure, that's totally fine too. Wherever you're at, I always say to work backwards. I've said this in a video on social media before, but I don't think I've ever taken it to the podcast officially. I wish I knew to figure out what career I wanted to enter or what job position or title I wanted, and then worked backwards to see what college I needed to go to, what major I needed, what certification, what training, doing it that way versus saying, I'm going to go to this college and major in this, period. Like, okay, then what? The clearer that your path is that you lay out for yourself, the easier it will be for you to enter the workforce because you'll have a clear vision of what you want and where you're headed. And then you can map out the steps to get there. You can narrow down your career, your ideal career. I would honestly say not by following your passion. I've said this a lot before, but there's this quote from Mike Rowe, who was on the show Dirty Jobs. He explored a bunch of jobs that are considered dirty, that nobody wants to do. And one quote that really stuck with me was, follow your opportunity and bring your passion with you. I cannot restate that enough. Like, everyone says, find your passion, follow your passion. What does that mean, though? I could be passionate at doing my own makeup, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I would make a great makeup artist. I don't think I would. So that wouldn't be a good direction to head down for me. But if you follow your opportunity and bring your passion with you, for example, my job as a brand manager, I followed my opportunity to work for Brandon T. Adams, our co-CEO, and I brought my passion of video editing with me. So the job title that I have, I didn't even know existed when I was a senior in high school. It just evolved, and it was honestly created, the title of brand manager, to encompass all of the things that I'm doing, which a lot of those things I love. in order to narrow down what career is right for you, start job shadowing. The more jobs that you are in person at, that you're experiencing, that you're asking questions while you're at, the more yeses and nos that you'll get. You can make your pros and cons list in your head. When I job shadowed at an architecture firm, I realized, okay, this is a cubicle type of office environment. I don't think that would work for me. I like to be active. I like to have my environment change every day. I like the not knowing where I'm going to be, which is the life of entrepreneurship. But while I was also there, I was asking them, what is education like? What were your loans like? What does a day-to-day workday feel like for you guys? What's your workload? I remember asking them because I was scared. I'm strong at math, but I'm definitely not the strongest at math. And I was like, how much math is involved with being an architect? And they said, girl, it's every day. It's a lot. So that to me was like, okay, maybe architecture is not for me. You can ask how much they make. You can ask what the growth is within the company or within the position. Job shadowing will give you so many of your answers. And that's as simple as reaching out to somebody that you already know, or finding, let's say it's a zoo, let's say it's a doctor's office, let's say it's a school, reaching out to anyone who works in that place and seeing if they offer job shadows, or finding a specific person who works there and asking them if you can job shadow them. The more emails like that you send out, or the more people that you call, the more responses you'll get back. And I guarantee you a lot of them are going to be yes. When is anyone not going to say, yes, I'll teach you? Like, what do you want to know? People are so willing to help young adults. Remember, when you're finding your ideal career, ask yourself, what are you naturally good at? What do you enjoy doing? And what problem are you solving? Be the number one solution to a real problem. That's a direct quote from John Lee Dumas, the podcast host of Entrepreneurs on Fire. That's all it is. A job is solving a problem. Lastly, you could, of course, research, look up videos or articles or people on social media who are doing what you might want to do, and just seeing what their day's like and seeing if you can imagine yourself doing the same thing. All right, the next thing that I wish I knew before entering the workforce is to be mindful of your surroundings. You are who you surround yourself with. Brandon T. Adams, who I work with, always says you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And it could not be more true, fortunately or unfortunately. Now that I'm around all these business people all the time, of course, I'm going to start thinking more like them. And while that might not align with necessarily my sense of humor or my interests, my hobbies, it makes me better in business, and it helps me move forward in my career. While you're in high school or while you're in college, you're around the same people, all young adults, all your age, except everyone's on their own path. Everyone's doing something different. So that can get really confusing, and it could have your mind be a little bit more cloudy. So if you have any chance to take some time to yourself, being independent, going to a library, maybe just picking up a book, or just thinking about, like, what am I naturally good at? What do I want to do? What decision am I going to make for my life? Because that decision is going to impact you and the rest of your life. So it shouldn't matter what anybody else thinks. Eliminate the pressure, and just remember that whoever you're surrounding yourself with, they are your echo chamber. So if you are saying, I really want to be an astronaut, and the people around you are like, there's no way, you could never do that. Like, they're speaking in absolutes. They're kind of talking down about it. They don't maybe believe in you. That could be a sign of, like, okay, hang on, who am I surrounding myself with? Are they going to help me achieve my goal or get closer to it? And then you might have to reevaluate some relationships in your life, and that's okay. The summer in between me deciding to enter the workforce and graduating high school, when I thought I was going to go to college, that was the most valuable time for me, where I could sit with myself, be away from everyone, choose when I wanted to hang out with friends, be with my family, and really understand who I am in my core, develop confidence in myself and my beliefs and what I want my life to look like. It really opened up, like, all the fog went away, and my mind was so clear of, like, okay, this is what I want to do. Oh, that's interesting to me. And all the judgment is gone, because now you're living your life. It doesn't matter what everyone else is doing or what everyone else thinks. So keep in mind who you're surrounding yourself with. The fourth one is being open to change and opportunities. Being open to change, meaning if you're in school and you want to change your major, that's totally fine. If you're entering the workforce and you want to change your career path, that's fine too. You can always pivot. It's okay to change your mind and to evolve, especially if you find something that's more interesting. In terms of opportunities, I did an episode with my dad in the beginning of Decision Day. I think it was, I don't even know how long ago. It's called Show Up and Say Yes. And that still stands true. Any opportunity that you get to attend a networking event or to speak on a stage or to go on the news or to speak to a class, whatever it is, maybe it's something industry specific, just show up and say yes. In the beginning, if it doesn't harm you, I would recommend, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's not that big of a deal or not that big of a gig, if you're speaking to a room of 2 people, show up and say yes. Like, you never know what opportunities can come from it. And to say no is like, you ask yourself, what if? What would have happened if you did say yes? And you'll never know. So the only way to move forward is to say yes and to learn from any mistakes that you might make, but also from people that you could meet along the way. Lastly is to be curious. Oh gosh, the class that I just spoke to, we didn't have a lot of arms raised. We didn't have a lot of questions asked. And I understand it was like a 7:25 a.m. class. Like, it was a very early class for high schoolers, but still, nobody had a question about anything. Like, now being out of the high school environment, I'm trying to think back of like what I probably would have been a little uncomfortable to raise my hand to, but nobody had anything. Like, they weren't wondering anything. I don't know. I just think from my experience of entering the workforce, the more curious you are, the better. When you approach any conversation with an adult or somebody who's more experienced than you in the workplace, just ask them questions. People want to talk about themselves, so don't be ready to talk about yourself, especially to an adult, but ask them, like, how did they get to where they are? What have they learned along the way? I've gathered so much wisdom and advice from older people who wish they could go back and do it differently when they were younger. And I'm just gathering all of this information, bottling it up, sharing it with you guys, but also reminding myself when something comes up. And I wouldn't have gotten any of that information if I wasn't curious. You have to always ask questions. I mean, if you're thinking of starting a podcast, that is one of the best ways to be better at asking questions and to be better at training yourself to be curious, because being an interviewer, you have to come up with questions on the fly. You have to be ready to ask and get more out of the person you're interviewing. But curiosity, oh my gosh, it goes a long way. It makes you stand out. It's impressive when you have a bunch of questions lined up, especially at a job shadow. Curiosity applies to 1 through 4 of everything we just talked about before you enter the workforce. So just remember that. It looks better when you're asking questions, when you know you're not the smartest in the room, versus if you were to just meet somebody and be a little bit more timid or reserved or less chatty. Questions start conversations. So the more conversations you have, the more opportunities you will get, and honestly, the farther you'll go in the workplace. I actually have a call in 3 minutes. I just wanted to let that all out, share that all with you, because after speaking to those high schoolers, I was like, I need to share this with as many people as I can while I have a few minutes here. Can somebody actually, whenever we invent time traveling, take this video, turn it into whatever you need to turn it into, a USB, a CD, I don't care, whatever it is in the future that we don't know the name of, take this and actually send it to me as a senior in high school. That would be greatly appreciated, because I needed to know this so bad. It would have saved me so many confusing thoughts and sleepless nights. I wish I knew all of this. So I hope that this helped you enter the workforce with confidence. If you have any questions about entering the working world, or if you just want to talk about your potential decision that you're going to make for life after high school, please reach out to me. I am always open to having a conversation about this. I run all my social media, so you'd be talking directly to me. You can message me on Instagram at Leah Leverich or at decisiondaypodcast. I'm on LinkedIn. I should be getting a lot of LinkedIn connection requests after this, because you need to download LinkedIn right now if you haven't already. My LinkedIn is my name, Leah Leverich. You can also email me, decisiondaypodcast@gmail.com. And then I always put an anonymous questions form in the description for you. If you want to submit something anonymously, I'm happy to answer it. Thank you so much for listening. I can't wait to share a new perspective with you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Decision Day podcast. If you know a student in high school, ask them to listen or share an episode with them. And as always, we love hearing from you. Share your stories with us on social, Decision Day Podcast. Until next week.
The Decision Day podcast is brought to you by Big Brand Ventures, co-founded by Kevin Harrington, Brandon T. Adams, and Brian Harrington. Big Brand Ventures brings Emmy Award-winning expertise and Shark Tank level strategy to scale brands like yours. Follow us on social media at Big Brand Ventures and visit bigbrandventures.com for more information.